Take it away, Hefe.
Yeah, GN or GM, everybody. This is the GMI Syncopator, and we're kicking off today discussing the Gotchi Lodge, the inaugural Gotchi Lodge at Denver. So that's what most of our discussion is going to be on tonight. And we got Mike Callum, No Future, Zombie, Esmeralda, Gotchi 15, got FaZe in the house, Billy Bishop. So we got a nice crowd here, and thinking we'll probably get some more friends dropping in here throughout our chat here. So let me just open up a couple documents we've been working on. Man, I don't know if like you guys are like me, but like if my windows go unchecked for like a day, I end up with like 50 different windows open. I gotta stay on top of it. No,
I'm
if I
pretty
don't,
neurotic about that, man. That can't happen. You gotta manage them tabs and stuff.
jeez, man, they pile
Reesh,
up so
big night
quick.
tonight. Appreciate
Yeah,
everyone showing up here, man. Good friends. What's up, Future?
no, I was gonna say on my desktop, I kind of let it. I'm an outlaw on the desktop because it has the bandwidth. On the laptop, it starts like especially Chrome. After a couple days, I have to shut it down because it's just like taking everything from the fucking computer.
Yeah, I had like my laptop had like a memory crisis a while ago. It was pretty bad.
So, so at least on the Gachi Lodge team, what do y'all think? We got a lot of friends in here tonight, but I'm happy to share these internal facing docs with everybody here, and at least get because we kind of want that raw review. I kind of want that raw feedback from our fellow friends here, and then we
So
can
you want me to pull
convert
up the
this to fully public.
internals?
What do you think?
I
Yeah,
think so.
sure.
No
What's that?
Future, man. You got a dad vibe going, man. That is a hell of a beard right there.
I need to. You know what? I was talking to a lady friend about it, and I was like, "Damn, I kind of want to get a haircut and a beard shave, but if we're doing Gachi Lodge, I'm gonna have to do another one in like 3-4 weeks. So I might as well just wait." But I also had a big conversation with my son about him moving to Tennessee, so it's definitely a dad vibe kind of day.
Yeah, there you go. You're nailing it, man. Well done.
Yeah,
I hope that works
I'm
out.
gonna bring the first child streamer into the Gachiverse. That's my plan.
Oh man, where's DJ Super Paul? You got some competition there.
Yeah,
Well, then there's Zero X Default too.
yeah, that's true. Well, his child is a baby, like months old. My kid is
Hey,
12.
you can't get the baby credit. No baby streaming allowed.
Technically, the cat would be really the first like under 18, unless you're Zombie Shepherd. How old is your cat?
Oh, zombie, you're still muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, all of my older cats have passed away. So my oldest one is probably like 6 or 7 at this point.
Yeah, so that's a child.
Man, I read this. This is just a quick sidebar. Zombie, you may have seen this. Maybe you're the one that. No, it was in the Nori Slack. There is a documented training manual on how to get your cat to use the toilet. It takes about 5 weeks of dedicated training. Did it work?
No, it's bullshit. Dude, I tried that like years
Cat
ago, and it was like you had to like do this thing where you slowly move the litter box to the toilet.
Yep.
And then you had a thing you put on the
What?
toilet, and then you would slowly. It would have
Cardboard inserts that grow in the hole.
yeah, so there was like a
What?
full litter box that would go on the toilet. So first you get them to get on the toilet seat to go. Then there's like these larger diameter holes, which decreasing litter amounts to the point that like, yeah, at the very end there's no litter and they're just like jumping up there and taking a deuce. Did not work. My cats were not fucking having it.
Well, I would just be like annoyed with like the cat turds all over my seat.
As soon as it went up, they were like, "Yeah, dude, I'm not doing this." Like they were like, "I'm not." No,
Why
like,
is it on the ground?
they just
Hard
started
stop.
pooping on the ground next to where the litter box was. They were like, "No, I'm not doing it." Like,
That was my strategy too. No
Good
kid
question
face.
for
Go ahead.
Zombie Shepherd. Do you know if District 420/Block Party gets archived to Twitch?
so Twitch only keeps things for 2 weeks, and if you don't
So we have to
download it,
upload it
it's
separately.
gone. That's why I
Okay.
stream to YouTube at the same time because YouTube is a safer archive unless you get your channel taken away.
No, because I have a playback machine set up. Actually, I can show it to you sort of real quickly because it's right next to me. Over here, this is literally Gotchi News Network. It's just like a couple pieces of equipment that are streaming 24/7 to make it work. But I have I now have a system to record these kind of events very easily in a small format, an MP4. But I'm just trying to figure out the best way to host the video after because I don't think Twitch, like you said, holds on to it.
Yeah, probably YouTube.
So does GMI have a YouTube that we can simulcast to? Because we can always stop streaming to Twitter and just put it on YouTube and
You
Yeah,
mean Twitch, right?
yeah, we're already doing that. Or I
No,
mean
I
with
mean
Zombie Time, but yeah, you can. Yeah, I think streaming to Twitter is kind of a waste. Anyway, so yeah, streaming to Twitch and YouTube makes more sense.
okay. So
I'm
we'll
still
switch the
doing
settings
it,
to that.
but because we can. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, boys and girls. Hefe, I will fire up my screen share here. I'm ready. We'll do this one here. Don't think I got anything compromising. Now we're good. Okay, so Hefe and I went through this last night. No Future, thank you very much for getting the funding proposal. The text block is well done and there's good data here. It was a redacted section there. Then we had GMI Street Media Plan and then prepackaged content, kind of a breakout of the actual focus of what the GMI Street team could potentially be providing as some service and deliverables for the ETH Denver 2023 event. We'll go through that here in details, and then over here we've got our spreadsheet for our expense worksheet. And so this is just rough estimations. We went through it again last night with fine-tooth comb, and we're pretty happy with the accuracy of it. We think it's pretty well rooted in reality. But we want to specifically discuss these things kind of in open air with all of you great friends that have given us a little bit of time tonight. So, things I'll lead with, and then I'm going to hand it over to probably Hefe. And by all means, I want everyone's opinion tonight because this is a new type of effort that GMI is trying to execute here, which is to mobilize some DAO funds specifically for the effect of a marketing campaign. And so this is very much not something that we'd expect lots of groups to be able to request in terms of, hey, I'm going to X crypto event, pay for me, or I'm going over here, pay for me. It's not what we're looking for here. This is a really pretty well worked out plan. We've been working with Lost Local, director of physicals. He's going to be at ETH Denver, and we've been chatting with him about potential opportunities by us being there with him and how he could help, or how we could help him have a more profound effect on the Ethereum Denver event. Oh, right on, Chair. You're going to be at ETH Denver too, so all the more reason here. And this is the whole idea: is we want to, and I mean, you easily can roll into this. If you're going to be there for the whole length of the event, the Gachi Lodge is getting a little crowded. I'm not scared of that, and so as long as everyone's cool with fucking camp style for a week and a half of living, I think we're gonna have a couple of air mattresses put here and there, and we could really get crowded. I'm gonna ask the Airbnb host if he's okay with us slightly exceeding his stated guest limit. I think he'll be cool with that. Oh, be careful, FaZe. Don't light that. Don't light up that weed coin. But we're gonna. Oh, let's see. I found a table to nest under in Denver. Right on, Chair. Cool. Well, you're please by all means. We'd expect to see you over at the Gachi Lodge, and love to get to shake your hand and hang out with you there. But if you have any desire to contribute directly to the street team effort on behalf of Avagachi, we'd be happy to roll you into this discussion as well. And that's something we were discussing last night. Is not everybody that is going to be at ETH Denver is going to specifically want to contribute to the labor effort. But those of us that are there that are willing to should be included in this discussion here. And so, yeah, perfect. And so also, just a quick shout out, if you guys haven't checked on Lynn's, Chair's dropping some sneaky alpha on his Lynn's profile. So be aware he's got some kind of teasers coming up. So don't miss out on that. Hefe, let me just pause right there and kind of let you interject. Most of y'all were present at the DAO call and kind of went through that first wave of introduction and first pushback. So where are we right now?
Yeah, so we kind of went through the DAO call last Sunday, kind of went through the intro of like what we're trying to do and just get that initial feedback. And so I know McCallum, you and I kind of went through in, after the fact and kind of looked over the conversations that happened there. And the whole proposal here that we put together is in response to some of the louder concerns at the at the call. So this is definitely, I think, one of the main points here to stress is this is our effort here is actually in partnership with Pixelcraft, and we are, I'm kind of asking for this on behalf of Avagachi DAO. And our proposal, the way we want to structure it is to actually make sure, well, first of all, the core members who are actually going to be tackling this, that their accommodations and travel are paid, because Pixelcraft would have done that if they were to hire out of house. And so they're not hiring out of house and instead have looked towards the DAO to hopefully fund at least these core individuals going there to set up the whole thing. No Future is going to be handling a lot of the media, content generation, streaming. He's going to be helping us get set up with our stuff. And I'm going to kind of be leading the overall I'm going to be working with Lost Local and figure out the whole strategy and approach to like Eat Denver, where we want to be, how we want to project our presence, all that stuff. And then, of course, we got Zombie Shepherd and Mike Callum coming along as assistants as well throughout this whole 9-day thing. So I think at the very minimum, we're looking to at least get that covered. And of course, to get our time recognized, like we are asking the lowest rate possible for our work here, which is basically minimum wage. And so we want to make sure that we're the best possible deal for the DAO, because otherwise it's going to be just Lost Local going to this event. And I think our footprint and impact would be really minimal, and it'd be kind of disappointing for the DAO to kind of miss out on such a big event. And so, us as the three individuals, we're happy to go there. I mean, we'll be honest, we're going to Eat Denver anyway. And so our initial angle was actually to market our own things, market our own shows, market GMI, No Future with the Orium. I think there's plenty that we could actually do on our own for ourselves. But this might be a bigger, larger opportunity for all of us if we go the Pixelcraft angle and actually market the whole Avagachi platform at Eat Denver.
And so let me just interject right there too. So I personally booked the Airbnb. It's already deposited down. I'm going to Eat Denver, hell or high water. This is something I personally wanted to do. As we started talking more about it, it became realistic that some of the other Gachi gang also would be interested in it, and we're open to it. That's why we got a multi-tenancy unit, and it's kind of expanded into a more robust effort. And that actually kind of, for me at least, it feels like that kind of originated from talking with folks like Jesse and Lost Local and hearing their initial excitement to be like, oh shit, let's do a thing. Let's make this a thing. Let's make this more than just cool, we'll have some friends there. Let's actually turn this into like a concentrated effort of labor. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, you got that right. It's a concentrated effort. The plan and the whole approach to this is going to be very well structured. Like we're currently already talking about hosting an event at the coffee shop. So we'll be doing like a coffee hour with the devs, which will be live streamed to Gacha Gang, and there'll be full coverage on that. But we're planning to do giveaways. There'll definitely be some opportunities for engagement and some promotion for Avagachi, but also to get to know some of these developers and maybe make some IRL connections, and hopefully get these people into the Avagachi server, or at least have them looking at our Twitter, maybe get some Twitter followers. I think that's one of the major KPIs there. And so we actually have some KPIs that we're going to be looking at. I think Twitter followers, Discord joins. What are the other ones there, fellas? We got expression of interest for the hackathon.
You put your head in a toilet or something?
No, did I start?
No, you satisfied me. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then we have this idea of giving out POAPs. So, giving out POAPs, and then the POAPs a raffle ticket for some merch.
Perfect. And so, in general, what we're looking at is having 6 community members being able to be present there on the behest of Lost Local and at his command, quite essentially. Hefe is obviously a DAO project manager, a lot of control and representation from him right there. And then with the recent election closing out on the Agate, you're looking at 2 of the Avagachi Foundation directors being there present as well. So we feel really strongly that this isn't just a group. This isn't just some Gachi gang. This is a relatively established and track record organization, GMI has done pretty successful community events for the Avagachi ecosystem in the past, and those weren't attributed to necessarily marketing efforts or anything like that. But having Pixelcraft supporting us, having DTF support us on our prior summits, has given us a sense of legitimacy in our mind that we are doing good work that is well appreciated and that our skill set is recognized. So for that reason, it feels like this is a reasonable team to submit towards something like an ETH Denver type event. And for this specific request, this is very targeted to ETH Denver 2023. We're not looking at anything past that. We're not looking at this snowballing into a war chest of other types, but ambitiously, that would be the hope. But that is not a requirement of any sort. We're seeing it in a couple of different breakouts. So Hefe has ambitions for a secondary event that can spin off of ETH Denver, and that's something that we see as very opportunistic for the DAO to inspire some outside organic interest, some dev talent, and maybe bring in some fresh minds and hearts into what we're doing over here. But the big things to discuss for us here tonight is and it's something I've asked to a couple different people, and I've heard enough opinions that I'm pretty sure where the mindset is, but it's still something we want to put to all y'all tonight too, which is, has the Avagachi DAO itself ever actually mobilized funding specifically for a marketing effort or specifically for a marketing campaign? I'm hearing mostly no. Most of the folks that we've checked with have said no. Wagme, I see that you're in here, and I'd love your kind of affirmative on that, if you also agree with that in terms of DAO governance proposals, that we've not seen any DAO dollars ever spent specifically on marketing efforts. And so it feels like this is a first, and so it's kind of unfamiliar for most of the DAO. And so there's some skepticism that we have to go uphill against, and we're not against having skeptics placed against us, but we don't think that this is a bad idea. And speaking with people like Lost Local and hearing their professional history and their prior experience, it's quite obvious that this is a kind of a steal, quite honestly. Pricing out with Lost Local, and we have some comparison quotes that we'll go through here in a second too. But I personally thought that we were almost over asking at the 10 to 12K range. I've been proven wrong. I have been proven wrong on the estimate worksheet, and I'm happy to support these individuals that are pushing for these estimations. And I'd much rather push for a fully funded proposal and let the DAO back us down if so be it. But the first request is whether or not the Avagachi DAO sees any value in active marketing at large-scale Web3 events such as ETH Denver. That's really kind of the first question before we even get to the price tag. So foreign right there is already a great comment,
got
right?
you 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So as one of the most active DAOs, we should be at ETH Denver. I don't disagree with that at all. I re-listened to the Sunday DAO call this morning earlier as well, just to kind of catch up with the audio side of the commentary. And even that came up with Coder Dan from his mouth on the Sunday call, is again referring to the fact that he was asking y'all, is like, what other DAOs do y'all like? What other DAOs do we think have good structure? What other DAOs are successful in our opinion? Because obviously we're killing it within our organization. And so if we feel that proud and that established with our DAO prowess, then we should, in my mind, not necessarily rest on those laurels and continue to push that bar and show others how it can be done.
There was some concern at the DAO call on accountability of the work that would get done, which was a genuine concern. And one way we wanted to address that, and we can bring it up during the call, is to, well, first of all, have our base costs covered, and those are for the core team members that we know are going to have specific tasks that we have outlined in our document, and they'll be put in the forum and whatnot. But aside from that, there is some room here to get some of the other people involved. You mentioned smoke screens. Lev is also coming along. I think Chair in the chat just mentioned he's going to be there. We have Musashi. We have some other peripheral Avagachi members that may be interested in helping in some way or another, and have them not only have access to some funds if they were to actually do some work, but also be able to show that work was done and that they were accountable for that work. And so I'm willing to actually use D-Work for this, and I think it's a great use case for D-Work to issue specific bounties from an allocated pool. Out of this full ask, a certain amount of it's going to be travel cost, and the rest of it's going to be to actually pay people for the work they're doing. And so we can issue bounties live at ETH Denver and have a way where the DAO can look and see that there's actually work being assigned and done through D-Work. And that would be as simple as, just having that on an iPad and documenting it through there. So that would be an easy solution to do to address that accountability point.
And I really want this to be a pretty open conversation tonight, just on any opinions or thoughts, or hey, what about this, or what about that, or that is a good idea. We want to really hear from all of y'all tonight, because we're getting ready to go to battle on an uphill campaign, and so we want as many alternative opinions or supportive opinions or contrarian opinions as possible. And so, let me back up just a moment there to that concept. And, Gachi Foreign has posted in there about the DAO being what it is. We should have that presence at an ETH Denver event. This is the longest and largest running ETH event on the planet. A lot of prestige. Last year they had about 40,000 people, and they've had to actually secure a larger venue this year because they think they're going to be pushing somewhere in that 60 to 80,000. I've never been somewhere where there's 60 to 80,000 crypto pros floating around. And so I'm very excited about the opportunity of the space. Does everybody in this room understand ETH Denver? Does everybody in the room have any maybe direct experience with ETH Denver? Have you been to one before? Do we see value in it as an event? That's kind of open question first.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's an open question for me. Like, there's obviously value there. We were in a space with Metaverse Johnny on Wednesday, I think Wednesday or Thursday. We were talking about OP metaverses on Polygon. And then that's when I realized Polygon is going to be, it's a whole force on its own, and they're going to have huge representation at ETH Denver. And so we know that the biggest projects on Polygon will be getting attention, at least in those specific areas. And they have large events, I guess, booked at ETH Denver. So that could be a great showcase for Aavegotchi. And so we have people like this, this influencer Metaverse Johnny, who is also a huge Polygon advocate. And that could help us, get inroads with certain events. And Lost Local himself said they've done some networking and outreach with other projects that will be kind of, I don't know how you want to say, like interacting with or intermingling with, sharing what we're all about. So, yeah, exactly, Soju. And so I think another part of this is our representation there too. Is we're planning to have like some sort of a Team Gear representation at ETH Denver.
Two things that come right to my mind. I just want to just reading through the comments, kind of live responding. And this is what we want. Just bomb it, guys. Y'all are doing great. This is something. Soju, I'm thinking about you. Gachi Bulls, I'm thinking about you. Heck, Foreign, I'm thinking about you. Like sooner than later, and we can say this right now on the airs. We need like some sticker designs. We need some media designs. This is going to be something
Soju's already drafting stuff up.
Exactly.
I was talking in the chat there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just want to make sure everyone knows that, like, if anyone's got an idea at all, we're looking for, like, ETH Denver by Aavegotchi by GMI type synergistic sticker designs. Like, we have some typical GMI logos that we're going to run some stickers of. We got some Aavegotchi stickers that we'll be able to source, and there will be ETH Denver stickers there. But we really want some unique sticker designs there. So anyone at all that's thinking about artistic designs like that, are happy to have any kind of effort pointed that way.
Gachi Bowls with the pizza again. Why do you do this to me?
Yeah, that's
now
tricky.
I'm about to order a damn pizza.
And that looks so good. I went dairy free a while ago, and this is just torture.
A dairy free Canadian. What a sight. You're neglecting your native poutine, my friend.
I know, man. It's painful.
So let's make sure we hit this Dr. Wagme comment here too, right? Because he was president at the Sunday Dow Call and was one of the first to at least publicly call out in terms of, hey, so we're not sponsoring a party for Dow funds, right? And that's a very responsible and adult question to ask, and I'm happy to have him be the one that leads with the spear because it's probably a softly held spear because this is a friend, this is not an enemy at any means. And so his comment here is that, I wouldn't see it's an uphill battle to get funding. We're just really looking for a clearly good. It's clearly a good idea for us to have an organized presence. So they're looking for us to document the plan, and there will be funding for the core event contributors. Our DAO has done a really great job of keeping things professional and accountable, and so that wouldn't be any different for this request at all. And that's what we're here tonight is kind of going through the details. So this is kind of just vibes and feelings questions first to set the tone, and then we can dive into the docs and look at some specifics because we think we're getting pretty close to hard data that can support our campaign here. But first, we just want to know, are the hearts in it? And it feels like yes. I just continue to want to confirm that.
Yeah, honestly, reading through the comments, even going back through again, there wasn't like any real. I heard concerns. I heard valid concerns. I didn't hear too much opposition, but I heard opposition. Maybe if I was to name one individual, it's obviously Musashi seemed like he was opposed, but maybe opposed in the sense that wasn't feeling included. And so let's make those people feel included. Let's make them feel like if they want to contribute to this, and if there's work available for them to do, that the DAO is willing to issue a bounty on it, and that can be transparent both ways. So kind of wanted to leave that out there, at least for those folks. But overall, I think the sentiment's good. And I actually kind of agree with Dr. Wagner there.
Well, and it'll set a precedent, right? Precedent keeps coming up. That's the word that we keep discussing. And I like that the DAO-PM's involved in this. We're just lucky that the pieces all overlap, and there's concerns about contamination of organizations when there's so many overlapping pieces, but we're still relatively small in our build-out of labor organizations. We don't have that many organizations to choose from to represent ourselves at things like this. And so it's kind of just, it's that way by default almost.
And I'm hoping we can be good stewards of this and use the DAO funds, the way that they're being laid out here, and show in hindsight that a group of individuals from the DAO can be responsible enough and professional enough to actually represent the DAO at an event like this, and we would set a great precedent for maybe a conversation about maybe some sort of a marketing budget. Maybe we talk to the DAO. In hindsight, I really do feel like we have all the right individuals here, and I'm confident it's going to be a success. But let's look at it in hindsight. Once the event's over, we can kind of do a post-mortem on everything. And then, once you have that confidence in the DAO, it opens up a greater conversation to how much do we actually want to allocate to this sort of thing? Because it's obviously producing results. There's obviously something tangible coming out of this. And so we have a huge opportunity here, not just with ETH Denver, but just setting the right precedent to be at these events.
Time really flies, man. I can't believe we're already at the half-hour mark. Two things I want to lead into. I'll start with the one that doesn't really need discussion, and then I'll go to the one that needs some feedback and response. So listening to the DAO call, there wasn't any kind of text commentary by Coder Dan, but when you listen to the audio, he also was one of those relatively soft skeptics, didn't think it was a terrible idea, but was very much concerned about this idea of member compensation specifically is where he took point. He was had no direct direct issue with the idea of travel coverage and maybe even lodging coverage. He seemed pretty okay with that. He was interested to hear more about the justification behind the compensation or stipend mentality. So I think that's a new barrier for us to cross as a DAO. And then this leads directly to the second point, which is that No Futuristic and Zombie Shepherd both were able to attend the Art Basel Miami event and help support Lost Local there on the ground. And I'm curious to y'all's just general takeaways and feedbacks from that event, and B, what was the discussion with Pixelcraft? Because it had nothing to do with the DAO either, right? This was all still kind of just personally Pixelcraft managing with you guys.
I was gonna let Zombie go first, but I guess he's letting me go first. Yeah. for Art Basel, it was a quick turnaround. It was only like roughly 48 hours. So like I had reached out to Jesse and Hefe a couple months before asking if they needed help there. Like, I can offer my presence from a media standpoint. And it took a little while, so like maybe 3 weeks before it was confirmed that I would go. They took care of my airfare, they booked a flight for me and handled hotels. So I basically went there, got there Wednesday night, like 10 p.m., 9 p.m. We had like a little group dinner. We discussed the next day. We woke up, went back to the hotel. I woke up, went there at 10 a.m. To the first event. Me and Zombie Shepherd linked up. We set up the event. Then we split off and went to a second event that we had to set up where Lost Local was doing a speech and then a presentation. So I shot video at both of those events. Mostly at the first event because that was the bigger presentation event. So, carrying all my streaming gear and all that stuff. So when it comes to the media aspect and also the social aspect, there's a lot of work to do because you're constantly. The idea with Art Basel that I think that we lacked was like in New York, we had a core group there, right? It was a few Pixelcraft employees. The social presence was much more present because everybody was there, able to tweet and do stuff like that while they worked. While in Miami, there was only three of us, so like Zombie Shepherd was at one event, like kind of curating and hosting the event, while I was at another event running video and making sure people don't knock over my tripod, doing interviews with Lost Local, shooting B-roll, like then lugging around all the equipment. So moving around, and if we're doing presentations, you need manpower for that. But with with Eep Denver, I have a very ambitious plan for the media, and I think it'll be very easy to see why we need the number of people that we have and how much captured content that we can create and get back to both Pixelcraft for editing and promotion live while we're doing it, and also stuff that with this team we'll be able to churn out media daily. So my hopes are to like extend our social media presence while we're there from the media aspect, and then just basically document everything. There's a lot of little things that aren't mentioned here, maybe like running Twitter Spaces daily, just a lot of like content capture, positive content capture for the DAO and for Avagachi itself. So you can read the document here. Are we sharing the link here or no?
Yeah, I'll drop it.
And I mean, personally,
Gachi gang members who found us through one of these events. So with Dr. Wagner, my question would be, when you say Gachi gang members who found us, do you mean as an onboarding event, or do you mean people who are in the community? I'm assuming it's an onboarding event. I don't really know based on those numbers. I will say as an onboarding event for partners, for partnerships, for finding devs and people within the ecosystem that we can work with, that has tended, I can see that happening more. That has happened previously in the past. Like people, I know Gravy and Big Flex meeting people in New York live there caused certain connections. Our Crypto Goons connection is a lot like, it's gotten really strong because of Miami, because Lost Local had a connection with them. Same thing with the Crypto Kongs, the Cyber Kongs. Our connections have been stronger. So these partnerships have led to our ability to go to events without having to pay top dollar to be at these events, because we're there with partners who are kind of supporting us and giving us kind of, a good deal.
Actually, that's a great point to make there, No Future, is our overhead actually as an expense for these is actually quite low. And Zombie, I'll let you go right after this, but I was just going to quickly chime in and say the tickets to the event are free, because if you join the DAO when you sign up, you don't actually pay for the ticket to go. Otherwise, I think it's $5.99 per person or something like that if you don't join the DAO. And I think we all did that. We all went through that step. And so the ticket's going to be covered already for all of us. The events, Avagachi isn't setting up an official booth. In fact, our whole strategy is based around moving through the groups and getting exposure through all our different connections we've already made. I know there's actually a live chat right now between Lost Locals, Sandeep, and some of you guys maybe in here discussing like maybe different venues we can be at during the week. And I'm also talking to the Metaverse Johnny, who has some inside connections as a Polygon advocate. So
he mentioned that specifically as the Polygon X Magic Eden synergy. That those two are kind of
Yeah.
rolling hip by hip, and they're happy to let us kind of tag along and play ball and bring us into some of their events and let us throw up some flyers and let us do our ground shills. And so we'll be able to roll with the big boys in a sense.
I would also really quickly before Zombie Shepherd gives his perspective, like to say because I
Poor
also
zombie.
did NFT NYC, and what I would like to say about those two events was the media approach was immature. We went into both venues, like both events, not sure about a lot of things. So that's why I've taken the initiative here to make this media plan so that we have it outlined. We've made sure that the places we're going to be will have internet, so we know we can stream. Where in the past we've like in Miami, I was supposed to live stream the event and capture content to bring back to Gotcha Gang in real time. We didn't know if there was internet or if they would provide me sound. They didn't. They couldn't do that. So it was like there was a lot of effort put towards something that we could have probably completely avoided and used those efforts and that skill towards something else. This plan will help us be more focused and know, what we're doing because we're organized. So that's what I would like to throw in there, just from my experience with NFT NYC and in Art Basel.
That's very relevant. Very relevant. Go zombie.
Well, I was just gonna say, like you were asking before, my personal experience with Art Basel, and like I went there, I was gonna go anyway, so I went completely out of pocket. I didn't get any kind of support, and basically I was just like volunteered to help No Future and Lost Local while I was there. And other than that, like when I wasn't like we had a second event after No Future left. We had a second event with the Cryptoon Goons again, and I helped Lost Local with that one. But other than those two events, like I was there kind of for myself, and not being there like compensated made means I didn't have any real goals. Like it was like, well, I'm just gonna do, I mean, I had personal goals. So going to ETH Denver without any compensation is like you're going to focus on what you're there to do. Like you were saying, Mycelium, you're going anyway. So that's kind of the thing is people said, oh, well, you're going to be going and partying and have a good time and you'll be there anyway. So I'll bet you'll do this thing. And it's like, well, no, people aren't going to put in hours of their day working for a project that doesn't like acknowledge what they do.
I like to. Well played, Smokeskins. Exactly.
Yeah, Art
Yeah.
Basel, like that was a long ass day. Went from 10 a.m. By I think around 6 I
And
got
I
to go
ran a
home,
whole
shower.
event space by myself. Like I was there at Grails, and
Yeah.
had I not been there, that's a whole secondary place that would have had no coverage.
Yeah, we had
All
to
right.
bring back all the art from the other event, and I had to carry that plus the equipment because there was no other way to transport it back to the car. Then we had to drag the equipment through rain on the beach. And it was a fucking nightmare. But we ended up working till like 6, taking a break for dinner, and then going back to a party from like 8 to 10 where we tried to capture content. But we went to a CyberKong's party, so we tried talking to people about Avagachi, but it made no sense in the context of the where we were. So it's like
hmm
these little things that we can plan better so that it's just more efficient and you can see like the value there.
Well, and I think that this is a rough truth, and I'll let Hefe actually drop it. I'll preface him, and he can decide if he wants to say it or not. Because I think you said it really well there. No Future is that between NFT NYC and Art Basel, it still felt relatively immature in the scope of execution and pre-prep. So Hefe, do you want to potentially share like Pixelcraft's feelings towards the result of those efforts that they've given towards Art Basel and NFT NYC? You can not. I don't mind if you don't, but you and I have been discussing that.
Well, no, I think in short, No Futures kind of summed it up there. Is like there was a lot of like media planning that had to happen while you like once you got there, and because of that, there might have been some like missed opportunities and just like some learning points in hindsight. That's like okay, well, we actually got to have these things figured out before we go, and like we need to have those certainties figured out. And so I think that's kind of where, like, that's the gist of it right there, actually. And so, in terms of the work, like No Future was saying, I don't think what we're asking for is to get every hour we're going to put in compensated for. Like, in terms of like what Pixelcraft would have to pay for, I think we were talking to Lost Local about this. If they were to outsource the help and get the similar kind of package without the protocol level and Avagachi specific knowledge. I think they were looking at maybe like $20,000.
Oh
Something like
yeah,
that.
easily double our efforts.
Yeah.
So our going rate across the board was $15 an hour, with smoke screens and lev both placed at $12 an hour. Which the 15 and the 12 is both locally outcompeted here in my region at fucking Burger King, and so that's like a very reasonable rate. It's a very reasonable rate. I'm talking with Lost Local. Most cities, large cities like Denver, have kind of convention staff available for hire. It's kind of some mercenary teamsters, and he put those people at about $25 an hour, with the caveat that they would come in with zero Web3 passion. They would give a damn less about Avagachi as a project. They got no context. They're literally just muscles that lift things and do things. They can't groundwork like this crew can.
Yeah, I think that's one of the assumptions that we wanted to clear up there, amongst the crowd is there is actually going to be real work here. Like just plain, like if you're just discussing like not the Avagachi talent or the actual networking or any of that, but just the I don't know how to describe it. Yeah.
Well, let me ask something here to the PM and WAGMI, DTF and PM reps here. Have there been proposals that have been passed that have contingencies of clawback? Has there been a discussion of the fact that we could overfund this proposal with the contingency that it'll be, tracked and accountable and could easily return funds or, reserve funds and potentially use those for future use case? Because I very much feel like this should be an actively managed project. I don't think that we currently, and Lost Local was giving us more perspective of this, is even on the Pixelcraft side, they have zero confirmation of exactly what they want to put into the ETH Denver event, even as of now. It's just not that much runway. This is probably, he mentioned specifically 2 to 3 weeks of runway till it's probably like finally settled on what they're actually going to do. And so whilst we may request a 10 to 12, I don't think we may actually burn it all. I really don't. And I'm curious about things like that.
I'll also say this. If, like, in the case that the DAO did not want to fund this, their plan is to actually back off a little bit. What they decide to do will also depend on how this goes. So they are interconnected, actually. I will say that.
Yeah, that's true.
I would push back against that and say, actually, this is kind of a very conservative ask. And they're kind of hoping that this works out because they see the value in this. And so, I don't want to underrepresent ourselves either.
Oh, for sure. But, just to counter that, because this is where we've been, right? We've been yinning and yanging on this, is because I don't want to overrepresent either. I don't want the DAO to feel obligated that all of these individuals are absolutely going to do this shit and this and that and the other. That if we're there in the ground and it turns out that No Future and Zombie and Hefe and maybe 2 grips, 2 labor hands, and we're good, and that's cool. Like, I think that I'm not personally expecting compensation. I'm not demanding it, and I don't feel obligated to it. And I think that I want a flexible proposal, which is a really tricky thing to ask for. And it's not typical within DAO framework to ask for a floating budget or a working budget that has potential clawbacks in it. But maybe it's time we have that kind of a discussion, because I want to see an allocation to you under your authority. And if we burn it all to that limit, then so be it. But if we don't, I don't want the DAO to feel like they got gypped.
Well, I also think I don't want to underestimate the amount of work it's going to take to claw back money from projects after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, it's the process already alone has a lot of moving parts to it to assess a project and fund it. And so what my kind of proposal of this whole idea here is, this is the test. If we're going to look at this as a Gachi Alchemica spending competition, but for a different facet of the ecosystem, for a different part of the meta, if you want to call it that, this is very much experimental in our approach. And that has, a lot of these numbers, the reason why we took the most conservative numbers is because it is an experiment, and we don't want to be asking for more than we need to show the DAO that this is worth the money, because then that can open a larger conversation to an actual pool of money that's allocated by the DAO, maybe on a quarterly basis, where maybe projects can be, funding can be allocated from that pool for, reasons that the DAO sees fit for specific events or, IRL things.
Let me put you on 2 points then. A, just check out that WAGMI comment. I think that's also kind of synergistic with what you're saying there. And then B is maybe we can look at the estimate breakout, because I originally, when y'all mentioned 10 to 12, I thought that sounded tall. I really did. And as I've spent more time listening to y'all and listening to Lost Local and listening to the professional perspectives, I've definitely been talked into it. And I think that I recognize now that this is indeed one hell of a bargain price, quite honestly. It's just new for the DAO. And so there are a lot of us like me that don't have a lot of experience with media creation costs, production costs, fieldwork costs. And so we just kind of need to be shown why this does make sense. It's not necessarily opposition, more so than ignorance, quite honestly. I am also got to refill my cup, so Hefe, talk for a little while.
Well, I want to chip in really quick and respond to Dr. Wagner. I actually agree with what he's saying. I would also propose that maybe what we do is the funding could be tied to two things. Like the first up half funding is for travel costs. So that is covered and we can get there and we can do what we need to do, our lodging and travel costs. And then our compensation can be tied to the job it's done, like how we did. Do we do it?
Okay,
Do we
so
meet the
actually,
satisfaction of the DAO?
Actually, that's a great idea. And actually, to address Dr. Wagner's point again, why don't we have that discussion and say, why don't we make sure that the DAO is agreeing to at least get the core team down with the travel costs? And then what I can do is during the event, I already got DWork set up on my iPad, and I've been talking to Coder Dan about integrations with our actual Discord here. So that should be all set in place well before the event. And so this is a great opportunity to actually start issuing reputation points on DWork. And what I'll do is
cool.
I'll issue reputation points based on the bounties that we do at ETH Denver, and then we can look at it in hindsight, once we're done, and see how many reputation points we've allocated, and maybe we can have some sort of correlation to the ghost that's paid to the reputation points that get issued.
I like that. I'm supposed to be filling up my drink, but I like that. Y'all are saying smart shit. And so, what I want in this, and maybe so what we're talking about is, but if you're looking at our expense worksheet here, there are 3 scenarios in total, 2 of which are only realistic. The third, scenario C, is really just for kind of reference and showing the absolute bare minimum of minimal support, and it's not expected to be accepted on our part as a crew, quite honestly, because to take that would be kind of a major underselling of our skill set. And so maybe what this is a scenario A is the baseline funding, and scenario B is the bonus funding upon performance bonus, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that 100%. Because if we do it the DWork way and we know what's going out there, then we can set it up. And then get paid after. Just as long as my shit is covered to get there, that's all I care about.
For sure. And that puts you in the same boat as like an Art Basel, right? Like at least your travel's covered, at least your base expenses are covered, at least you're not getting cut at the end of it. You're not negative at the end of this situation, but you may even end up positive. But in the same way, playing devil's advocate here, because I know me and Smoke, and I think about, I want to make myself the bad guy here. I want to make sure that this proposal is structured in a way that if once we actually get there, Smoke and I go fucking nuts and we lose our minds and get off the rails and spend 9 days partying, that there is an active way for this proposal to essentially cut us out of the stipend compensation demand, because we literally wouldn't have contributed, and so we don't deserve the compensation. And I want the proposal to be that fluid.
Yeah, you would have no reputation points allocated throughout the week, so it's like, well, you didn't really accrue anything.
Absolutely. And I like Lev. And if Lev comes and has a great fucking time and parties the whole time and doesn't do shit, I don't want him to be allocated for compensation, but I'd love for him to be able to at least still be a part of what we're doing here.
And I mean, here's the beautiful thing about this. If half of you guys go party and don't do much work, but Musashi came in and he happened to be at ETH Denver, he actually does a whole bunch of work. Well, guess what? He got a whole bunch of reputation points.
100%.
And we can allocate him some of the ghosts from the pool.
Well,
so it doesn't shut out anybody else that is not part of our core group here.
Exactly. And this is a little bit tough, these more fluid proposals, we haven't done a lot of this, and it's because we haven't had a lot of these types of kind of circumstances. And that's why I think we're very lucky to have the PM as an actual on-site participant, because we have this opportunity to tell the DAO that the fucking sheriff's in town. Like, let's let the sheriff do his job and manage this shit. Let's let the project manager manage this project.
Yeah, I'm liking this. The reputation points, that's just something that just came to me during this meeting here. And
Okay, you guys keep talking. I
yeah.
am going to go refill my cup now.
Yeah, you go do that. So yeah, I think that's the gist of our proposal here. What we did is we went through this last night and went through the main document. Went through the Excel worksheet that we put together, and I'm gonna aggregate all those points and kind of make one more concise, just a forum post. And so I'll get that up tonight, and just so we can get some maybe some last minute, some other feedback from other people in the DAO that might have some concerns to voice. And I say we bring up our kind of final proposal on Sunday. I think a few points to highlight there would be a GMI, like these 4 core members are going to be attending and have specific outlined tasks to do that week. There's going to be some travel expenses that we've put together that we can mention in the forum post as well, just to give people an idea of the base ask. And then I really like the idea of allocating reputation points and having a allocated budget for that pool, that funding pool. And maybe we can have a discussion around that at the DAO and maybe think of some numbers of what the DAO might think is fair to have as a compensation pool. And of course, like Mike Helm said, we might actually, there's a chance we might not use all of it, but I think that the money is going to be there for people who are willing to do the work. Basically, I think is kind of the idea. Well, actually, the reputation points would be fractional. So, if one person ends up doing all the work, they might actually get a larger share of the pie. So it actually does work out that way too. But I'll definitely mention that and see what other feedback we can get around that. Because this sets really great precedent for these sorts of events. There has to be some accountability. And, I don't think any of those concerns that were put up during Sunday were like, they're all reasonable concerns. Like we see this all the time, like with funded work at events where people get funded for doing something and then they don't deliver anything on their on what was expected initially. I think Avagachi or Gachi Gang specifically is we're just I don't know, man. I feel like we're like a hardworking group everywhere, from the devs to we see the Forge team, GMI, like the Gachi Farmy, the shit they're building, like the whole crew is just a bunch of hustlers. And my experience like funding the projects over this last 3 or 4 months was like almost everybody undersold themselves in terms of how much they wanted from the DAO. Like it's really incredible to see that sort of work ethic in the DAO, where you have people like Jared and Maury, and doing a lot of work for like way below what they would normally be asking for this sort of thing. I think that's just a testament to how much we care. So, I think that's another kind of more of the one of the more intangible points is that we're going to Eat Denver because we care about actually making this a big deal at Eat Denver, and that alone I think beats any kind of inorganic marketing strategy.
Well, and I'm back. So let me interject here too for that mindset. So I want to kind of like give us all some perspective on how this whole thing has evolved too, right? So like I'm blessed and lucky to have been in the space for a little while, and I'm working in the space, and I'm happy with my day job with Nori as community manager and coming from Good Ghosting. I love crypto. I love Web3. I love what's going on here, and I feel so lucky to finally be in a position where I get to go to Eat Denver. And so I was going to make this happen hell or high water. Got smoke inspired. That was cool. Mentioned it to a couple other folks, and suddenly saw eyes light up. And they were like, oh shit, yeah, let's do this. Let's do the thing. Let's go. Let's have a blast. This is the definition of a bottom-up, community-inspired effort. This is not Pixelcraft telling us, hey, find 6 people and we'll fund you and go do this thing for us. This did not come from the big boys down. This is literally the production efforts of the community members.
I feel like we could take the blog post for the Forge, maybe tone down Galaxy Brain, some other like maybe a little lower, but Gotchi DAO members that are coming together to like kind of try to do something.
100%. And yeah, this is a new type of direction, but I am right there with you, actually. Just as big brained as we see community members like Dr. Wagme coming up with these amazing transformations for our protocol. This is not Coder Dan. This isn't Jesse. This is not Pixelcraft coming out and saying, we needed this. This is the community's intelligence at work. And so we just need to kind of expand our open-mindedness to recognize that well-executed marketing and brand building, which I'm learning every day through Nori, and I see the money spent and the effort placed upon trying to build a brand in the Web3 space, and it's live or die is on your recognition. And so, and talking with No Future and Zombie and Hefe and individuals like this son of a gun is no joke. This is real work. This is not free. This is not to be expected for folks to just do this out of the kindness of their heart. Marketing and media is a effort. It's a different kind of effort, and it's not something that just anybody can plug in and do. And I think that this team right now, this crew for the Gotchi Lodge, are indeed some of the most well-respected and also proven through efforts of these types of efforts. And so I don't think that we have a lot of argument on whether or not this crew has the potential to deliver. And so I'm happy to hear the requests for more details, the DAO forum discussion. We want to go through those pieces and pipes, and we're happy to do that, if anything. And Hefe's been, I think, almost more excited than anybody about this. Zombie, you've been kind of on there too. Hell, No Future, you too. Y'all see it. This is the potential, catalyst. This is finally maybe that moment where we can, as a community, recognize the value of marketing and of media and of content, and really kind of take things into a new effort.
Yeah, I think if we just look at the media
look at your Wagme content right there, or look at your Wagme comment in the future. I think we're done. Yeah. Maybe we said enough, right? It's 9. It's been an hour.
Let's go to sleep, doctor. Just dream of
just dream of the ETH Den for fun, man. We're gonna have so many good things for you. We'll put you on our fucking shoulders to carry you around.
It's gonna be GMI because you're gonna melatonin it. Go to sleep.
All right, get out of here in General Wagme. I appreciate your time. You just always been, you and I have a relationship on our own, and I always have had just a blast interacting with you in general. And I like the positioning of all of us, all of these individual entities that are in our ecosystem right now. We're all starting to really set the tone for having some fucking pillars in this community. I like the pushback. I like the questioning. I like all the discussions that we have. Make us prove ourselves. That's the point. I think we're this good. I do believe we're this professional, and I do believe that we could deliver. So put the fire to our feet, and we will extinguish it.
Yeah, what I like thinking about with the media plan, especially, we haven't really talked about the social outreach part of it, but the media plan is what I do pretty much every day, but with a more organized fashion for content capture, which is important because I think we need to get as much as we can. But all of the people who are going to be working as crew, because content capture when using professional equipment is good, but it can limit you in a lot of ways. So by having people with cell phones, this is what we did in New York, but just hopefully more organized, we'll be able to get a lot more stuff back to the Pixelcraft editing team. And, like I said, we can make ourselves. So I think it'll work out pretty nicely. And one of the unfortunate things that we can't put forward in this plan is details about events, because like Callium has said before, we know nothing yet. We haven't booked anything towards anything. I think it's going to take a few more weeks, but I think it'll be easy to flesh out everything and have a very concrete
ETH Denver doesn't know yet.
Yeah. The good thing also though is that the social outreach, I think we should talk about that a bit more, because that's going to be a big factor of what we're doing there. There's going to be in real life activations that we're hoping to have, either being soulbound origin cards, a giveaway that's going to be triggered at the coffee house event that we're going to live stream, and then just in real life interviews with friends that we meet there. If we can somehow snag Sandeep and get him on a live stream, we're going to do it. So there's we got some plans, it's not gonna be it's gonna be a freaking grind. Like on the documents, I want to put 10 hours of work a day because I know exactly what I'm gonna be doing. But we're gonna make this work, and having the on the ground help is gonna make this a lot easier, especially with a plan going in.
On the back of that, looking at the actual expense worksheet now here, let's get into some numbers here because we're already at the hour mark and I don't want to keep everybody up. 2 hours is typically as heavy as we go, so let's make good use of our time here because I appreciate everyone's contribution and hanging out with us. So, if we're looking at this 11.9, that's essentially maxing out the scales. That's the 12K. So that's the 10 to 12 that y'all were estimating, and it is accurate. And so I think that the 12K is a good, solid funding. My question to y'all right now is, do we feel like there's a scenario where we exceed this, or do we feel good and confident that we can present this as a max cost with the only opportunity being a potential down cost, depending on PM's allocations?
Realistically, the only flexible cost that I see here will be travel. If we can't get the funds soon enough, the travel cost goes up, just because that's the nature of life.
Oh, yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah,
There's a
lodging, I
time
think
premium.
we've settled already, so I don't think that's really a thing. I'm not 100. I haven't paid anything towards lodging. I don't think anything else. No one's gonna change their wage, and I doubt food, because what we thought would be wise is, instead of getting a stipend towards food, we would get food like that we can, like, think what you would get in a hotel, but like crap breakfast that we can just have there for us so that we can eat, fuel up, and then hit the road and do work. And there are ways that you can get that relatively cheap, like via catering. So if we could do stuff like that, just cater the breakfast at least, then we'd be able to like do our work, fuel and do work.
That's exactly what Hefe said last night.
Yeah, versus a stipend, which is what they traditionally do for this kind of stuff.
I would just
Faye-
Costco it up on the first day and just buy enough breakfast for a week
Yeah,
for all of
Hey,
us.
you're
and call
in
it a
the
day.
room, so I would love to hear the contrarian point of view, because
Yeah, hop
we
on
need
that
to
mic.
hear because we need to know where our weak spots are.
Gotta have a bear in the audience. Let's go.
Oh, it's gonna be Chuck
I
Wagon
have a
style for
Costco
sure, man.
card too, so
Rice and beans, baby.
Nice.
It can be very tasty, man.
Even
Spices are
Fox
cheap.
News has a Wendy liberal on every once in a while, right? You need something to put that.
Man, I've always, I do respect them for that. Even when I know like they're putting a fucking chum in the water, but at least they did it. Well, FaZe, you type it out then at your desire and whim and pacing there. But yeah, please, y'all tell us what you think. Okay, just be the salty. Like every one of y'all in here right now, be salty for us.
All
If
right,
you
let's
were-
do it.
Yeah, if you're gonna, yeah, no,
Costco play also,
come
by
get
the
me.
way. Costco is the move right there, because we will have a car, so we can do that.
Yeah. What's up? Can you guys hear me?
Sounded
Yeah.
good.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, when I typed that out, I was trying to think of like the best way to word what I'm trying to say, just so that like I don't sound like a dick, basically. Because
You're all right.
it's like,
We're going to give you the
yeah.
preface of Dick Rapper, so go ahead.
definitely, yeah. So it's like that's what it is. It's just playing that part, right? So you guys are talking about, and I got the idea from like Wagami's comment earlier, where he said, where he asked like if any current members of the Gotchi gang are like people that were onboarded at these events, right? It's just a way to gauge like how successful, or how even valuable is it to try to fund efforts to market at these kind of events when we don't have a complete product yet.
Great question.
You know what I'm saying? Because like
Yeah.
it's a hard sell. Like I'm in marketing by profession. Like that's what I do daily. So like that's what I graduated from and stuff too. And I know that like I can market things. Like you can bring me, but there has to be a thing, and I
Yeah.
have to be able to pitch it fully. I can't tell them like, oh, this is what we're working on, and we've made a lot of progress since since this was just an idea or whatever. The investors or the people who are going to come in, they usually don't care about your like personal wins. So like if we tell them maybe some of the stuff that Gotchi Gang is excited about might not be as exciting for people who aren't in Gotchi Gang yet. So all I'm saying is like I think we have to have a reason for them to want to be Gotchi Gang first, You know what I mean? And then the product kind of sells itself. It's like, oh, look, there's this functioning game. Like I think it would have been perfect, and I wouldn't have even got on the mic right now if like the arena was up, for example, by the time that you guys are going to the conference, right? Because then you could be like, okay, well, here's a playable game, right? And this is what we do, and then you can explain all the other like side things that come with it that's like super interesting, man. GBM auctions, fake gotchis, like there's a lot to talk about, and you guys individually, like you could each talk about those things for hours. You know, I know that for a fact. Like I've heard you do it. So
You said through those hours.
yeah. So like it's good, but I'm just saying, like, do you think it's just for the sake of like playing the contrarian, right?
Is
like,
there juice? Yeah, is there juice in that fruit?
I can respond to that, and it's one thing that we should probably preface all of this stuff with is that the feedback that we've gotten from Pixelcraft as people, like at least for me, going out there is for ETH Denver, the goal is onboarding, but not so much new Gotcha Gang members who are people like us, but dev talent. Like they're looking at us to be outreach to find new talent to enter, because ETH Denver is not like Miami Art Basel or like NFT NYC, where those are more like PFP party. These are the builders. Like it's going to be during a hackathon. So the idea is to like draw attention from talent that we can draw into our pool. That's what Jesse has said to me. So there is going to be a social component that we want to get people to follow us on Twitter. We want to get like us out there, but there's going to be ultimately a goal of like reaching new brands for partnerships and also new dev talent for the DAO and for Pixelcraft. Mostly Pixelcraft, but we can, the DAO might be able to hunt some stuff too.
I'm honestly jealous. Yeah. I'm jealous because you beat me to it, because that would have been my exact response, is that I'm like the people buying gotchis and hanging out with us and starting to pet and channel. That's a happy secondary effect. But my main goal is finding that builder and recognizing to them the potential that we have, and they just didn't know that we have such a sandbox for them to come and build castles in.
Yeah, I mean, to spin on like, we're talking about outcomes and like what would be a really amazing outcome to get from ETH Denver. A really amazing outcome would be to find, to run into some builders that get so like fascinated by the way they can build on Avagachi that they build something as cool as something like the arena, or they come and build their own whole like different kind of Gotchiverse or something. There's like that potential there too of actually running into game studios, and it's more about finding people that are going to create more value on our protocol so that we can have more things to talk about to those other potential Gotcha Gang members and get them in at those other events like NFT NYC, Art Basel, those sorts of events that are that kind of a vibe.
Yeah,
I'd like to point something out when I get a chance here.
You get beat up, FaZe. Thank you, sacrificial pinata.
Go FaZe.
No. Let's go ahead, Smoke. You just deliver, and then we'll let FaZe kind of process it all.
So from my particular point of view, as far as the importance of Avagachi having representation and at the ETH event, personally, I sell cars, right? And I have the what do you call it? The personal experience of selling my first Tesla. I sold a Tesla just a few days ago, and the guy that bought the Tesla, he was a young social media content creator from, I guess, YouTube. And, he was young. He was very young, and he was trying to buy a $75,000 car that we had on the lot, a used Tesla. And, I just started to pick his brain a little bit. I'm like, how is this fella, so young and buying this car? Is he, does he come from a rich family or what? And he just so happened to be once again a content creator. He told me he wasn't in front of the cameras, but he was doing work on the back. And so we got to talking, and of course, crypto came up. And he was a big time ETH holder. He knew a whole lot about ETH. He knew about the recent changes on the gas fees, and so of course I brought up Matic and Polygon. And where I see the benefit of this event is there's going to be. We talked about the ETH Denver event, and he was excited about it. the minute we brought up Polygon, he didn't have a clue about Polygon. Nevertheless, he didn't have a clue about Aavegotchi or even Aave, for that matter. And but he had a pretty good idea on what metaverses were and staking and DeFi, and so I mentioned Aavegotchi a little bit, a small portion, and his eyes opened wide, and he was excited. He was excited about the theme and the concept and what and the first, after he heard the whole spiel, what it was, and asked a few questions. The first big question that came out was, when do you guys go live? When do you guys launch? So I could understand, a friend's point about, it's not fully developed yet, because most projects are all just hyped. There's nothing there. But I think we're so far ahead. We're so far ahead compared to any project that's out there trying to be like us or be something like us, or they have a concept, but you've seen Sandbox, you've seen this other metaverses that don't have their shit together yet. And so when I brought it up, and when he asked that question, I go, when do you guys launch? I was like, man, that's a great question. That's exactly the question. And we're live, man. I mean, we're not fully developed, but we're our metaverse is functional, and the concept is live. It's been live for some time now. And he started immediately taking links and got my Twitter address and Discord, and so I wanted to share that he's going to be a member, an ETH holder that's going to be attending the event, and he heard a little bit about what I had to say about Aavegotchi and Polygon and Layer 2 and what's been going on here, and he was blown away, and he was excited, So I think that's the effect that we are going to have on a lot of participants or participants of that event, attendees, at the event, ETH holders, that are looking to see what else is there, what else has been created with an ETH that have no clue, and that's why it's important for us to be there. And that's all I got to say about that. Good night, guys. Thank you. Bye.
All yours, Space. You round us out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, if it's dev focused, like you were saying, I didn't know that. I thought you guys were just going there to kind of network and see, gauge interest in general, and then try to get players, right? Because it's hard to, I'm sure you guys have seen the messages in the general chat and Aavegotchi and stuff. When you get to the newbie every once in a while, or somebody who's not active at all in the server, and then they just come in and they're like, "Yo, what's up with this game? What do I do?" And then no one answers them, because it's kind of where do you start? You know what I mean? And then they're like, "Oh, I'm on the main portal page and it says there's 29 people." How many thousands do we have in the Discord server? It's a lot. I'm not sure what the number is. It's a lot. Yeah. But then someone like that comes into the server and they're like, "Oh, damn, look at this, it's popping." And then they go on to they go to log into the verse and they see 29 players online, and they're just like, "What the fuck's happening? Where's the game? How do I play? What do I do?" He's like, "I'm walking around the map." And no one even responded to the guy. That was today. You know what I'm saying? So it's there's this imbalance between what there is actually to do right now for new people, right? Everybody else, I feel all of us here, we're kind of invested in one way or another, but the new people aren't, and you're trying to get them to invest. So they have to see something functional, you know what I mean, and it needs to make sense to them off rip. As soon as they see it, they're just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, cool game," or whatever, whatever might actually interest them. And that's all I'm saying about new players. But if you guys' main focus is on devs,
that's a great point. Michaela and I were talking about the game as a whole, the other day, everything that Aavegotchi has to offer as far as the fakes now and the staking and the trading and the renting, and and that's it's definitely it's not it's not easy to get that across, to someone new.
We're half baked right now, but we're a hell of a lot more baked than a lot of the other projects out there for sure. But at least onto that, like specific to your idea here, Phase, is this is indeed builder focused because we want to find the next generation of E-trees. We want to find the next generation of Jareds. We want to find the next generation of the folks that are going to be building the things that we can then point the general masses to and say, here's what you have to do. There's a carnival dap, there's a goldfish dap, there's a fucking poker dap, there's all these different things you can play. Because we are, and that was interesting to me to hear this from Hefe, per Pixelcraft, to hear this from Jesse's mouth is we need devs. Our ecosystem needs devs right now. We need more bakers.
Okay, yeah, then that's cool. If those are where the efforts are focused, like I'm totally with it. I was just playing contrarian for the sake of I
need it. We appreciate it
for the general masses kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, and like you're saying, like what you're saying is very relevant because truly, if you do look at the people that are on this call right now, most of us are not simply community members. Most of us are indeed builders in some way, shape, or form, whether that be through artistic efforts or graphic efforts or DAP efforts or community efforts or social efforts or marketing efforts. Most of the folks in here right now on this call are indeed builders. And so that's actually what we need the reinforcement on. We need more effort on that building front, which I didn't fully appreciate either. And so this is coming down from the top. I did not know that Pixelcraft, Jesse right now is going to bed at night going, fuck, how do we get more devs inside of here? Like, yes, we need more players, but we need more devs to inspire more players.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And that's brilliant. Then I have no issues at all because that's everything we say, eventually comes down to okay, well, it's the devs working and we're not sure about their time and, communication and stuff, like what their priorities are at any given week. Shit changes, right? And they're constantly shipping. We know that. So to know that there's a crunch already on that and they actually have a demand for it. And, it's like first things first, right? You prioritize that and the rest will kind of fall into place. So
and this is the things that inspired me to push even harder on this specific campaign because, like I said, we'll be there. Some of us are going to be there one way or another. Like ETH Denver's already appealing enough on an individual level, but then you start to talk to your favorite protocols, and you talk to folks like Jesse and Pixelcraft, and you recognize wait, so you guys actually have some hungers as well. It's not like everything's super peachy and we're super excited. We do have some vacuums within our own ecosystem. There are some things. And like Soju's saying, Avagachi feels like an entire chain ecosystem all in and of itself. And that's because we are pretty robust. But that does not mean that we're fully complete yet. And so we still have so much build out to do.
So I would like to also say that part of what we're also getting at with the social aspect of this is that we want to compound it. We know that we're there for networking for devs, but that's why we also want to do we've suggested because in the past we print a lot of stickers. I can show you them. I have a bunch of them. They're on the back of my laptop actually.
I have them too. Thank you very much, sir.
These stickers are great, but they convey nothing. There's no information on them. So I've actually asked if we can do some fake gotchis printed up on stickers, and then ideally what I want to do is host for the coffee house event a giveaway of some sort. Ideally I've called it godlike merch, 5 in real life items that we're doing a GVM for live during this event, and we have people through the we can onboard people with this fake gachi sticker with whatever information on it, but being more information driven in our social approach. So it's like a byproduct. It's not necessarily the main plan because we actually want to work towards devs, but as a side effect, we also want to start working that muscle because when it comes time for NFT NYC and Art Basel, we need to be able to do those things better because we didn't do them well. Not that we did it poorly, it's just it wasn't organized. It was an immature setup.
No, for sure. No, I think that's very well said. One thing I brought up in the micro team earlier, and I don't know if everyone's seen this yet or not, but GBM's starting to spread. So we were the very first, right? GBM partnered with Avagachi, and this is where we pioneered. This is where most of us all learned about this idea of bid to earn. But we have now seen that Song a Day is pretty famous. He does his thing, and he's a good ETH personality and pretty social there. But he literally last week introduced a mechanism for his NFTs to have GBM bid to earn mechanisms. And then I happened to be on an airdrop list for this silly, goofy little project, Rastlers, but they somehow found out about Song a Day and GBM. And I talked to the dev specifically, and he's like, yes, I saw GBM within the Avagachi fucking genius, and I loved it, and copy pasted that shit because I wanted to do it. That's a good idea. So we have so many opportunities to go to ETH Denver, and like we can introduce GBM to all these devs and still let that be in reference to Aavegotchi and get that prestige for Aavegotchi as a pioneer. We are a pioneer protocol. We do so many things here that no one else does yet.
I just want to make one more point. Question. I don't know if we mentioned this at all today, and this should be in our presentation. We talked to Lost Local about the idea of GMI. Part of these D-Work bounties, it wouldn't be GMI, it'd be Hefe, would be towards us creating art, like the community, for our ETH Denver, like, branding, the marketing and stuff, the pamphlets, stuff like that. So we want to kind of outsource and use some of those funds towards that, so that we can deliver that as part of this package.
Yeah, absolutely, and that kind of ties back to that reference I was making to Soju and Hell Bowtie Nerd and FaZe and all you guys. Like we're gonna, absolutely. Soju and Stiller Hobbs, both creative directors within Aavegotchi or GMI programming, and so many others. It can be competitive. There's no sweetheart deals here. Like we want to have contributions.
Yeah,
we want to.
I was actually thinking that maybe there should just be a little bit more on top for those artists, but also like you were talking about remote bounties, like people who aren't at ETH Denver who might want to pick up these video bounties. Maybe there should be a little bit on top for that, so that they're not taking away from the on site.
Z5, we're looking at you, sir.
Z5, hell yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
he's
when I
been
heard
doing all
remote
the
bounties,
from A to Z
I'm in.
audiograms, so.
Well, you're training him really well. He's learning, and you're training.
He has surpassed me. He is much.
I doubt that. Not till you're dead in the ground.
No, we're good.
And if it sounds like it's close, then I'm just gonna keep pushing because I will.
So let's do some data numbers real quick here, guys. Let's crunch some actual numbers here, and let's actually break down this estimate worksheet and make you guys. Okay, so one other thing before I dive super into this. If you were present at the Sunday DAO call, first of all, thank you. I appreciate your contributions and your attention span, because it's damn early in the morning for me. And it's even earlier for Hefe, and I'm proud of y'all for showing up, because it's a bitch. And so I will be at the next Sunday one for dang sure. But I appreciate all the warriors out there in the field. Based on that, the last Sunday DAO call, when Hefe started bringing up this idea of this ETH Denver, it wasn't shot down by everybody. This was not shockingly, oh my fucking god, we got the real Slim Smarty in here, guys. We were literally just talking about him the other day. What's going on, my friend? We have missed you. You've been doing all right? Come on, man. You gotta give us something quick.
He makes an appearance.
You just pop in here, give us a mic or give us a text, man. We've been wondering about you. We were literally just talking about you the other night, man. You were on our welfare check. You contact, and everybody, if you got any intel, I'm looking for Real Slim Smarty, which at least he's alive, he's here. We were looking for Contact, we were looking for Manor, and we were looking for John Gotchi. I got DMs out for all those individuals, but if anyone's heard anything, little church group checks.
John Gotchi's been dark since December 18. Signed up for Secret Santa, never responded to the initial text. Haven't heard from him in follow-ups. No idea.
Okay, so pay attention to your friends. Pay attention to your friends and make sure you reach out when you haven't heard anything in a little while. I don't even remember. What was I saying before that? That shocked me so much. I was excited.
We were doing check-ins, and Real Slim Smarty got.
Yeah, you were about to go back to the document to see about extra bounty money.
Man, as long as it's a fun dungeon, if that's the fun kind of dungeon for Bearded, then I guess good for him. But if it ain't, then damn. So at least, talking about this funding here, I had another point, but fuck it, whatever. We'll jump ahead. So specific, number breakouts, right? This is the things we want actual data. And so you can see it really easy. This is an internally facing doc. This is not what we're going to put forward all the way to the proposal. So the fact that you're here with us tonight at the GMI call is why we show you guys these things. And so who's showing up, right? So we got the Gotchi Lodge itself as a physical presence. We got No Futuristic. We got Hefe. Mycalium smokescreens. We are about 30 minutes apart, so we're going to travel as a unit and kind of a one and the same. You got Zombie Shepherd, and we got Lev. These are the Gotchi Lodge lodgers as of now. And so then we got method of travel. Yeah, there you go.
Bob requires no compensation. He will guard the house free of charge.
Well, he can have some beans and rice. I'm all right with that. And so we got the Airbnb itself. All right, we got travel methods, no futures, looking at probably flying in with a lot of equipment, a significant amount of equipment. What's your cost estimate on your equipment, no future?
Probably 20 grand.
Yeah, so this is not a
I'm bringing
bullshit.
a shitload of equipment too. That's why I'm driving.
Yeah, I'm bringing
Exactly.
a full 2 sets of live streaming shit, cinema camera, lenses, a second DSLR for photography, and for when we do man on the street for a second camera, for a multicam for our live streams. I'm gonna have a mixing board so that we can run up to 4 mics. I could bring a bigger one if we need it, but I don't think we'll need it because Zombie Shepherd will have equipment. I have 4 handheld interviewer mics. I'll be able to bring my podcast mics. Probably be able to fly with mic stands. We should probably add that to our equipment list, which that should be relatively cheap. But it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of fucking equipment, a lot of video and streaming equipment, as well as like computers and servers to run shit and make it all like sexy.
And I'm gonna bring a D90, a Nikon D90, a couple of tripods. I have a Tascam handheld recorder, and then besides that, I'm gonna bring like equipment to play a show. So like we can get down. Like
This is not small effort,
if
and
we
most
want
of
to
us
throw
will all
a
have.
party in a field, we can do it.
Well, and all the rest of these other crew members will have at least, their personal mobile phone cameras. I'll have my GoPros, the Sony voice recorder, like light duty, and so we'll be the B-list equipment.
We're pointing out that we're gonna be the media support for the party because even if we don't go, a coffee shop party is gonna happen, and we're gonna be basically helping to run the event. We have to capture the event, but there's gonna be that's gonna be a big component of all this. That's also very important.
I'll bring all the illegalities. I do want to give you guys. Oh, here we go. Slim Smarty. Sup, fam? Sorry to mess shit up here for a minute. Hope everyone's doing fine. Miss this shit heaps. Just too busy with the real life stuff. DM's always open, legends. Cool. Right on. Happy to hear it. You're doing good, Bubba. Just wanted to make sure you're all right. I do have an update. I actually had a DM sitting here in my inbox that I wanted to share with you guys too. I'm gonna delete this after the fact, but here's something that I just got from Mr. John Gacci. So not as positive of an update from him. So if you've got a moment to maybe send him some words of encouragement, it probably would go a long way. Sounds like he's having kind of some rougher days over there. So if you've got a moment to send some hellos and some get-alongs to Mr. John Gacci, it would probably go a long way amongst our crew.
Glad we got an update.
Good to know. Glad you're doing the outreach efforts there, and we'll be sure to go full circle on that.
Hey, I told Smokescreens this yesterday, man. You guys make me feel like it's a fucking church group. I'm sitting around, I'm like, oh shit, where's Contact? Where's John Gacci? Where's Manor? Manor's still on my list. I have a welfare checklist, guys. I care about you fucking people. Y'all disappear, and we're gonna recognize it.
Oh shit.
All right, so we're looking at travel plans, right? We got airplanes. Hefe's going to be driving down, and he's up in that BC area. That's not a fucking small drive. That's a hell of an effort. Smoke and I are
20
here
hours.
Yes, that's no joke. And so Smoke and I are here in Utah. It's about 10 hours to Denver. Zombie's going to be driving out. I think he's in New Orleans. It's not a short drive at all. It's a hell of an effort. Lev is most likely going to be flying as well. Let me get that in here. If you guys don't know, I don't know if everyone in here's heard it. I say it a lot, but maybe some of y'all haven't heard it yet. But Lev was like the original community manager for the Quick Swap Telegram group way back in early 21 when Polygon was just waking up. Lev is no small personality. He has paid his fucking dues, and he is not just some friend. He's the real deal. He's paid his dues, and so I think that I feel very lucky actually. To have Lev coming to participate in the Gotchi Lodge directly because he is someone that was doing it long before I ever recognized it. Yeah, no shit. Exactly, Soju. Yeah, he definitely was in there helping people understand what staking meant, what LPs meant, what DEXs meant. He helped set the tone for all of us. And he's still here with us, so we're lucky. So we got flight travels, we got driving travels. So that's second column, right? That's column 4. Column 5 here, estimated cost of travel plus food and route. This is the lightest of lifts. This is like baseline expectations of support to get us to Denver. So these are floating costs. They're different from each member, and some of us are higher, some of us are lower, but it's a complete group request, and we'll allocate in those differences. It's fine. It's perfectly fine, the difference in stack size and support needs. We're happy with that. Compensation allocations. So this is how much do you want to get paid by the DAO for what you're doing. You got two humble friends right here that led the tone in terms of just whatever the hell the DAO says is fair. They're willing to do it. That's no futuristic and Hefe, and that's what real commitment looks like. And you got folks like me and Smoke. So I am full-time community manager at Nori, and I'm happy to go to ETH Denver and lobby for Nori 9 days. I'm going to get paid by Nori the whole time that I'm there. That's my day job. So I already know what I'll be doing. So I'm available for this proposal, and that's why I want a flexible war chest, because if y'all don't need me, I don't want to get paid. I don't want to try to fleece Avagachi DAO, and I want the proposal to translate that energy, because I want the DAO to know that this is a flexible and dynamic funding request per the PM, and we will flex as we need to. You got people like Zombie who are going to contribute significantly. You got people like Hefe that are going to contribute significantly. No future. I think myself, Smoke, and Lev are the flex units. If those three primary units can justify the actual need for us, we're there to help. If there isn't a need, then we are not going to insert ourselves into those demand requirements. This is the potential compensation estimates based on those scenarios. So this is running no futuristic at $15 an hour is the base rate for everybody here except for Smoke and Lev. Smoke and Lev are both placed in here at $12 an hour. No future, Hefe, myself, and Zombie at $15 an hour. This is estimating 8 hours a day, which, even though Futures mentioned 8 to 10 is more realistic, but we're just looking for some sense of estimation. So 8 hours a day across 9 days at $15 an hour is the 1080. That's the base number. And so 1080 on the No Future, 1080 on the Hefe. Myself would be at the $15 an hour, looking at 4 to 6 hours is my expectation. So I ran the math at 6 hours as the max potential cost request. I don't think I'll be given 8 hours a day because I'm going to be mostly in an assistance role. Is my goal is not to be a primary content producer. I'm going to be wanting to help these other studs. And same thing with Smoke. He's at $12 an hour, which even in a reduced rate there, but same capacity as me, essentially assistance or grip. Same thing with Lev too. And so this is a combined number for Smoke and I. Myself at the 810 max potential, him at the 650-ish, 648 max potential. Got Zombie Shepherd sitting here at the same 1080, 815 an hour, 8 hours a day, 9 days. And then Lev at the $12 an hour across the 9 days, 8 hours a day, so 648. I think truly, in my heart, I truly feel like myself, Smoke, and Lev are probably going to flex down significantly from those requests. And so I think that there's room. I think that these are indeed the max requests. Estimated cost of food incidentals once in Denver. This is all just kind of me on some of these numbers. I put 300, literally just bullshitting. That's like on the Costco budget. That's beans and rice. I believe you there, Zombie, and I anticipate that. But we like our DAO, and that needs to be translated well as well. The fact that this isn't an overreach, this isn't a fleece, this isn't an angle. This is actually a shockingly underwhelming request when you really break it all out. So $300 of food to feed 6-7 people, because I think Hefe's girlfriend will probably be accommodating us as well. And she's Gachi gang. She is holding Gachi, but she's not even in here. We're not even considering stipend for her. There's not going to be a labor allocation for her. There's nothing like that at all. But there will be 7 mouths in the house at least. And Dr. Wagme will crash a couple nights with us as well, it sounds like. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to have our friend Chair over and a couple of other friends. We want to have folks over. And so $300 buys a hell of a lot of rice and beans. And so I think that we can military feed ourselves Chuck Wagon style for quite a while. Talking with No Futuristic and Lost Local, we came up with this $500 estimation for potential equipment rental. They got some crazy tools and shit that they need, monopods or sticks and stuff like that. So that's where that number came from. And so there's your breakout of the actual funding request. Based on all of that, scenario A here, 6591, this is specifically an estimate that addresses the associated costs of traveling to ETH Denver with no actual compensation allocated for any of the participants. This is the bare minimum just to get us there. To get us there, to get us fed, to get us home. $65.91. If we get bigger and we provide the stipends and we compensate these individuals for their efforts and their labors, it goes to $11.9. And like I said, I originally thought the 10 to 12 sounded fat. I thought it sounded heavy. And the math proved it to me. You know, Hefe and I did this stuff last night. We spent a lot of time looking at this shit last night. And I have been completely converted and convinced that 12,000 is a fucking bargain for this kind of effort. And Lost Local has given us the perspective to recognize that is indeed a fair opinion on the matter. Scenario C here is not even realistic and we wouldn't accept it, but it's to show the absolute baseline support, and this would be specifically just paying for the Airbnb and just paying for food while we're there in East Denver at a mass scale. That's it. That's no equipment rental. It's no compensation. It's not realistic, and it's no love. And so this is to kind of show the absolute bare minimum that could even be considered for like support of this crew to be able to do what we do. And so based on what we were talking about earlier, it sounds like a very realistic expectation is to maybe go scenario A as the demanded baseline with scenario B as a potential bonus baseline. Hefe, you do some talking. I gotta pee.
Well, no, I think we kind of went over the whole thing here. I think that's something I'll mention in the proposal is the scenario A, the get us there cost, is the base cost. That's the base ask. And so what we're looking for is that plus, I guess the decision point here for me, it sounds like from the DAO's perspective, that there's going to be no qualms about the base cost and covering just for us to get there. I didn't see any pushback in the chat. There was no like concerns over that. The concerns were around the work and how it's going to be allocated. And so that opens up the discussion to that second bit there, the work budget, the funding the work. And so I think the way that could be proposed is what chunk of funding does the DAO seem like? What chunk of funding is that? If we minus the trying to look here. I'm trying to look at the difference between the full ask and the base ask. How much is that? Because that would be like an example number that we go to the DAO and say, hey, well, we're thinking of this much to allocate for work. We'll allocate it through reputation points. And so we can allocate a certain amount of points to the whole block of funding. So let's say it's 5,000. Let's say it's a 5,000 ghost budget. We can allocate 5,000 points for the whole project. And then, if you do like, let's say an hour of work or 2 hours of work, then I'd give you 30 points. Let's say you do 2 hours of work at $15 an hour, that's 30 points. And so we would record that as your work. And we, I would issue a bounty with the work that was done and the points. And that'd be one way to keep track of it. And then at the end of it, we can total up how many hours or how many points worth of work we did. And that would dictate our fraction of payment from that total block.
You just described coordinate. So if you want to do a coordinate,
but the only thing is, I know exactly. It's like coordinate, but the thing here is the D work aspect of it, right? It would be transparent for someone in the DAO to go to that and look like live and see what bounties are being issued and how much how many points are being allocated.
That is for the ZFi, because coordinate's not open, like public facing, unless you're inside of the circle, correct?
I think so. I think
so too. I don't think an outsider can see any kind of specific private coordinate circle. I think you have to be a member to see and if you're a member, then you can see all the action and allocations. But I don't think you can see it from the outside.
Right. Yeah. D-Work's clean too. That's a easy integration as well.
Hefe's in love with D-Work. We'll follow along.
It's easy to use, and what I'm going to do on Sunday is actually throw out some contributor invite links and get some people from the Discord to hop in. So if you're on the Sunday DAO call, I'll make sure I get the contributor links out to get some people in the Discord, and then in the D-Work, and then we can start assigning some roles. So especially for our core ETH Denver team, I'd like to get everybody in here onto the Avagachi DAO D-Work, and so we can be the first use case of DWork managed work. So yeah.
Right on. Scenario C has officially been redacted, so that's something that we don't need to worry about or look at. If you guys are wondering about the colorations here on the expense worksheet, or also here in the media plan per No Future, so here you go. This is the legend up on top of the media form. So yellow highlights are first-rate priorities. These are things that Hefe and I determined as probably the most motivating pitches regarding this effort. Second-rate priorities, third-rate priorities, boom, 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 right? So these are like things that we think are relevant in their prioritization. Same thing over here. We kind of cherry-picked. We had a hell of a lot of notes from friends, and I'm honestly, I do want to blaze through. We got maybe 20 minutes before we call it, because I don't want to push this past 2 hours. We're going to have a lot of effort this weekend, guys. If y'all have the time, if you're typically at the Saturday calls, if you're open to the Sunday calls, and maybe you aren't always there, like, this is a weekend where I would personally be asking for some attention. I miss a lot of the Dow calls myself. They're early for me, and it just doesn't happen usually. But I'm gonna be there this Sunday. I'm gonna be there this Saturday. This is gonna be a great weekend for as many friends and allies to show up as possible, to kind of echo why Soju thinks this might not be a terrible idea, why Hot Curly Fry doesn't hate this, why FaZe doesn't think that we're wasting money.
What's our plan for the calls when we're out of town also?
You just had to fucking bring it up.
I was planning, like, the idea is that the common area in the lodge, this is what I want to do. I've been getting pushback, but depending on how far the common area is from the internet connection, which we've confirmed that we do have with Ethernet, so that should be enough for us to live stream. I want to run it in the common area and basically have a live streaming setup that is set up, plug and play setup there the whole time. So when we come to the Hangout, we can cover it. We can cover and run the DAO meeting from, like a live stream from it. And then the Twitter space as well, which would be live from ETH Denver.
Well, there you go. Sounds like we're gonna handle it.
Yeah. Daily streams, shooting content, editing packages to get back to Pixelcraft for promotional purposes that we will also find people to interview. It's going to be a lot of shit. So.
Let's go open floor real quick. And just anybody that hasn't been on the mic yet. Does anyone have any just general opinions? Like, I really want to try to draw something out of either in the text chat or in the speakers here. Do y'all love what we're talking about here? Do you think this is like a fucking no-brainer? Like, obviously this is a great idea. Did you come in maybe as a skeptic and maybe now you've been won over? Are you leaving with still reservations? I'm just wondering y'all's general opinion. As mentioned, the last Sunday DAO call, it was really only about 3 voices that were questioners. Two of which were relatively meh, and one of which was seemingly supportive but needed a little bit of warm and fuzzies. And so, fuck you, zombie. And so I was just wondering, as we talk about these kinds of things, yeah, if everybody on this call right now is at the next DAO call, we literally outnumber them. We literally can outrepresent ourselves to the naysayers, and it becomes more of a positively supported idea than a negatively questioned one.
Yeah, my worry, I've said this openly, is I don't think the DAO or the votes, the whales essentially see value in this. They're not going to see value in this. So I don't really think we have good chances here. But
well, the good news is Wagme. Yeah, Wagme did seem to say that he's in. No, for sure. And follow me on this path here, because that if there's one thing I know about Dr. Wagme is he doesn't lie. I don't ever disbelieve the things he's willing to type out. And so if he left here tonight thinking, fuck it, I'm in, I'll whip the votes, we'll get the whales, I'll get the vault. If he feels already that good about us, I think we're probably already there, quite honestly. But the more the merrier.
I just don't like to count my Wagmes before they hatch.
That's a meme right there.
All right, man.
I don't have too much. So I want to do one quick.
Yeah.
I want to do one
Okay.
quick pivot here, and just for the hell of it and for the funsies. Let's see. This dissenting opinion is not in the spirit of our community, right, guys? Exactly correct, FaZe. And that is how I took away from that specific DAO call. Is when I listened to it, it did not sound representative of the DAO itself. It sounded representative of a few of the individuals who wake up early enough to go to those calls, but it did not sound like the spirit of the DAO. And goddamn, the zombies killing it over there. Yes, it makes people go quiet real quick. I agree with all of that and appreciate y'all. The vault will come in at the 11th hour, and myself, I'm still a big fan of the vault. I like what's going on over there. I'm still trying to stay involved and aware, and so it has been some changes over there, but it hasn't gotten worse. It's just different, and Wagme is still a primary voice of representation over there, and so I do feel like he is the one to win over, quite honestly. Now that shop's a little pricey there. Smoke, we'll find the den down the street. Last but not least, for me at least, just because he sat through this whole call and we hardly ever see him, I am a big fan of Chair. Chair is the founder and creator of one of the very shut up zombie. Shut up, man. don't say things like that, man. People are gonna hold us to that shit. It's gonna be a fear and loathing. That's like my alternative, right? If you don't want to fund us, this shit's gonna go fear and loathing. There we go, FaZe. You know my heart. Chair is the founder of NFTP, and this is Rainbow Rolls. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. This is literally just me shilling on good behalf because friends like this are what inspired me to originally pay attention to NFTs and started getting me interested in NFTs back when I was just a DeFi purist. And so the fact that he's going to be there with us in ETH Denver, I'm super stoked. These are some of the oldest members in our community, quite honestly. The MSG crew, Musashi, Chair, T-Bird, those fucking dudes have been around forever. And so those are allies. We want those friends to be paying attention to what we're doing. We want them here on our calls, and we want them supporting us. So thanks for being here, Chair.
One last thing we should mention, maybe it's a lost local because you just gave me a great idea. Lord Trivia from Freckle might be there, and if he's there, we should probably do a show with him or something.
That is a great point. No, for sure, and that's kind of half the point here, right? Is we want Lost Local to be like, I need this. We could do this. Here's an opportunity. Go do that. We want him to be able to deploy troops. Agreed, Soju. Yeah, our DAO, reading him out loud here, I feel like our DAO is fairly conservative and mindful with the treasury, which is a really good thing. In my opinion, ETH Denver is a big and real-life event for a culture mostly based online, which is pretty considerate and probably important for us to have a presence at as possible, especially if we consider ourselves one of the most active DAOs in the scene. If we're going to keep flashing that badge, if we're going to keep telling everyone how fucking awesome we are as a DAO, then maybe we should start flexing our muscles as a DAO and mobilizing funds as a DAO and doing things. Cool. I'm happy with everything we've had here tonight. Hefe, what do you got?
I mean, that's about it. In terms of actionables, I'm going to gather kind of our thoughts here for tonight, what we put together, cherry pick some of these highlighted points we went through the other night, and I'll get a Discord forum discussion going just to get some other insights from maybe other DAO attendees that maybe don't make it to these meetings. And let's bring this up again on Sunday for a segment. And while Chair is in here, actually, if you're still in here, friend, we still have some time. If you want to talk about infinity keys, because I know that's something we'll be bringing up tomorrow as well with your team. Chair is part of a larger project called Infinity Keys.
Good segue.
And this is something we haven't really discussed here before, but I've seen Chair in here a few times, and very humble guy for not talking about that, but still coming to our events and listening into what we're up to. But I think you should kind of give us the lowdown here. Just what Infinity Keys is, what you guys are doing, and you have a proposal out right now. So I think it's a good time to give you the stage on that one.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, and I appreciate the highlight. I'll try to keep it snappy. I know it's been a long call, so thank you all for having me. This has been a great topic, and just in general, since we are tailing off of it, ETH Denver is going to be amazing. I haven't been to that event specifically, but I'm really close with a lot of people that have gone since its inception. I've been to MCon that's in Denver. It's a little smaller of an event, but I know we're all gonna have an amazing time. It's gonna be uh, the best opportunity ever, probably, to get Avagachi's name into. Everyone's probably already heard of it at this point, like the people that we want to hit first in the dev segment. But really, that 3 days of the super new people will be that more classic conference expo sort of vibe where you just smile and onboard people. And um, I don't know, I have a lot to say maybe for the next one of like giveaways and how to like get people to remember after just a 45-second interaction, things like that. But moving on from that, I'll be around there. I plan to be there. I'll be around now that I know you guys are meeting Friday nights. I can be around. Um, Quickly about Infinity Keys, we're at infinitykeys.io. We are a gamified puzzle platform that focuses on Web3 achievements, straight up passwords, other API achievements from all over the web, from Discord to any API that's open. We have a Steam integration that's coming. Um, Working to link game communities together, as well as be a platform for creators, individuals, communities to build their own games on top of Infinity Keys, to use as onboarding tools, to uh, gain traction between communities, but really to link all of those communities together and create a greater ecosystem around that. We are live at infinitykeys.io. We are Lens Grant. Oh, I pasted already. We have a Lens Grant. We work closely with Lens. We have a Lens collector pack up now that requires going around and collecting different posts.
My lord.
We have a lot of traction on Lens. It's fun. At one point, we were like the number 3 collected project, but I think we're already out of the top 10 because Lens is growing really, really quickly, which is really cool to see. The specific flow with Avagachi in the beginning will be something that focuses on onboarding new players, but anybody with Agachi already or is already used to the flow can just go and complete the achievement. We have plenty of ideas for stuff behind it, but initially is there will be a passcode that is disseminated in a careful way, but knowing the passcodes get out there eventually. But like uh, strategic posts between Gotchi accounts and Infinity Keys accounts to getting it out there, to getting people to the Infinity Keys puzzle. After they solve the first challenge, their addresses are added to a whitelist where we'll have a stable of Gotchis ready to go for people to uh, uh, interact with the lending module, claim them, enter the Gotchiverse, and experience the greater Gotchi world. From there, there is a task to find a hidden password in the Gotchiverse itself that we're going to construct using some of our land assets. Going in, so there's some exploration of the Gotchiverse, maybe using some different bounce gates, having to explore different districts, understanding that they're, understanding a lot of different aspects of the game, hopefully in one big rip. And that's the overarching theme here, is that by the end of this pack, by the end of this quest, that anybody who's completely raw has interacted with all of the fundamental, well, like, I mean, there's much more. We can get into wearables and that whole pathway, but this is at least a pathway of how do I get a Gotchi without having to own it? How do I get into the Gotchiverse? And the third challenge is to simply pet a Gotchi, take care of a Gotchi. It might not be necessary at the time, but calling the function and understanding that petting is an integral part of the game. We'll be checking that just somebody did call interact, that they did call pet. And if they have, then they solved that third challenge, and that will be the entire pack. The pack will have an NFT reward. We have some exclusive airdrop, like VRF airdrop ideas for the winners of the pack that we're working out. But we're really just ready to open this up to discussion, get some feedback, and we really want to roll before ETH Denver so that we can have this ready to go. We're going to be ETH Denver. We're going to be hitting it hard. We're going to have all sorts of fun Infinity Keys specific stuff there. We'd love to have like the Avagachi thing too. Like speaking of Avagachi representation of at ETH Denver, like this would be something that we're pushing because anybody can do it.
Well, and if anything, you're giving us ammunition. This is perfectly timed.
And so yeah, that's the base of it. From here, there's a lot of fun ones that I can think of for more seasoned players. That's a little bit probably like in the scope of keeping it in the scope of onboarding new players, getting new people that are already Web3 onboarded, just didn't realize like, oh, this is all it is, and I'm in. Like that's sort of who this is focused on, with everybody being able to participate, and then we stack. From here we stack. We call them packs because it's like packs of puzzles, packs of cards. We stack those achievements built on achievements. And last thing, the website now is in its sort of super alpha version. We'll have a major update pre-ETH Denver as well. Creating user accounts, completely isolated user data and wallet experience. We will never link the two together, or certainly without user very specific consent. So that's that, and we'll be talking about this at the weekly hangout tomorrow if anybody wants to digest and has any thoughts.
To hell with digest. Amplification, man. This is good. Yeah, no, we'll be helping you with this. This is going to be well timed, and it's a good opportunity for us to have some crossover here. I've been following you for a while, and y'all have been very good about being resilient. Y'all do y'all's thing regardless of what the hell's going on in the space. And so now it's a good opportunity to kind of plug in.
The founder of Infinity Keys, the original founder, Magic, is also an OG NFTP team, and
oh man, perfect segue. So here's,
yeah.
If you're watching my screen share here, still, this is my personal one, and I mean this is probably one of the first 3 NFTs I ever minted, period, in my whole entire life. Yeah, and I caught a good border, caught a Gitcoin, and I onboarded into Web3 because of Gitcoin round 9. Like that was my first introduction to crypto in general, was this idea of public goods for good funding. And how much medical debt did we wipe with NFTP here, Chair?
I think the number is 20 million. And how that happens? Somebody, I think I'm pretty sure because that's like what's stamped in my head. The way we did that is we donated 20 ETH at the very height of the bull run, 2021 to an organization called RIP Medical Debt. They sold it like on the spot. They turned it into like 90K something or other. So it wasn't like the very peak, but it was close. And because of how they deal with medical debt, they buy it like any financial organization buys debt. They buy it for like pennies on the dollar. So if somebody owes $1,000, $10,000, the companies that own that debt will sell it for a percentage. Let's say like if they don't think the person is ever going to pay 10, they'll sell that debt for 8 to some other company, and that other company will just come after 8, so on and so forth. So RIP Medical Debt buys it for like, they get a good deal because they buy it in bulk. So they bought like 90K USD, bought them $20 million worth of medical debt wiped.
That's hard to understand, and like now I'm lucky enough to be with Nori and in a organization that is crypto with an impact, with a real world impact. But I'm happy you're here tonight because I'd love to kind of highlight you as an individual. I'm kind of hijacking and we're turning tone, but I'm all right with it, right? Because your project helped me at a very early stage understand that NFTs and crypto itself could be so much more than what it was at that time. And so I personally just want to give my gratitude to you as a founder and for what you try to do. And happy that you're here with us tonight on this call. And here we are moving forward, onward and upward.
Heartwarming, man. Thank you very much. Like really, really heartwarming, and really happy to hear that like this is.
Hey, all y'all.
brought you in.
You know, in Musashi, we tangle, our horns tangle all the fucking time. But MSG, all you guys, y'all saw it long before anyone did, truly. And the fact that y'all are still sticking around and still fucking around with folks like us, it's a very encouraging circumstance.
Masashi and I had some very late nights, early on, just kind of seeing all of this, and I think nobody. I wasn't a game dev going, like I never followed game. Now I'm like very all the way around, like very involved in games and understand how long it takes to develop. So like 2 years ago, or like almost 2 years ago now, it's like we knew we would be here, and it feels really cool and really good. And in another 2 years, oh baby.
You preach it, man. You got the perspective to help the rest of us keep the faith. Hefe, what do you got for us, man? Let's wrap this shit up, man. We're at a 2-hour call, and we got some good friends in here, been sticking around.
Yeah, man. I wanted to give Chair the time because I think what he has proposed here. I've been talking to the team, the Infinity Keys team, and they seem really excited about this, just as excited as we are. So I'm looking forward to like this sort of a pitch to our Saturday hangout group, because it's a lot larger than this, and I think those friends are going to be just as excited. So I'm kind of looking forward to the response tomorrow, and it's a great way to wrap it up. Also, just noticed that, Chair, you got a brand new piece in the queue, a fake gachi, so definitely go check that out. Pretty cool vibe on that one, actually.
Thank you.
I'm streaming Q right now. What do you? Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Sure, I think
It's
it's the last
spooky.
month. For the Necro fans, it's
Right
the
on.
first piece in. Well, I only have one more fake card, but gonna be getting another one soon. But
Hey man, don't be scared to publish with us too, man. You might be happy to fucking do a collaboration with y'all's entity.
Oh, that's
It's,
killer.
nothing but more synergy.
Yeah.
I feel like the artist on this piece is my brother-in-law. Actually, his name he's named.
How do you pronounce that? Kahia Kahi?
Kahi
Yeah.
Kahi, like
Kahi
Kahi.
Kahi.
Yeah.
Right on.
And he's done a bunch of really cool stuff. You find him on Twitter and Instagram. We'll need to get him a Lens profile, but he's been memeing through the last few years with me, and has the skills. He's got the flavor.
This shit evolves. Oh man, this is a moving piece. This is really good. Plus, 100% between Zombie and myself, the Lens profiles are no problem. We've got a really great relationship with the Lens team right now, and so just give us a wallet address so we can get people onboarded.
They're the best. I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate it. I'll let you know. I think I have a hook, so I don't wanna squeak, but I will definitely let you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, any kind of Lens support, please let us know, because it gives us an opportunity to continue interacting with the team, and I think that they're excited. We continue to come back to them and be like, hey, we got a dope fucking person, get them in Lens, and I think that they appreciate it, so we're happy to continue to
for
facilitate
sure.
those onboardings.
I'm in like a bunch of Telegram chats with them, so I try to interact daily with, and not just the team, but the creators, So is Face, he's in there.
Oh man, you got all these parallel realities going on.
Oh yeah. Well, Mycalium and I are in a chat with some of the core team and
Dev team.
Yeah, the dev team and the marketing team together. Yeah, we're all over the place with Lens.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
Soju
underestimate Soju. Yeah,
Soju
well, and hey,
is in a chat with me, Bradley, Gerline, and this guy Gary Luna, and it's just like, I think it's like 8 of us. I don't even know who else is in there, but it's like the Lens Cartoon Network team. We're trying to
well, and I will say, there's not a lot of Lens profiles over that 1,000+ followers now, but you got a few of them here right now on this call, and so we're very lucky and blessed to have the early access to Lens, and a few of us really bit hook, line, and sinker, and so this is an opportunity of our
Speak of
era.
the devil. Gurlene just popped in the room.
Oh my lord. Yeah, no kidding.
What's
This is
up?
crazy. Talk about a true conversion, right? Like, this is someone who is a creative by heart and is truly seeing the opportunity to capitalize on these developments. I'm so happy that Gurleen continues to see value in what the hell we're up to over here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess.
I guess, yeah. Who do we want to end it with here? Hefe, you pick one of these friends in the room right now, and they'll give us the ending words.
I was just gonna say
Phase,
that's a
you
wrap.
crack me up, man. Nah, Hefe, let's put some pressure, man. We always want more people to be contributing to the stage. Smokescreens used to be a big old punk and not want to get up here and say things, and he's grown up, and Manor, same kind of thing. Like, who do you want to put it on tonight? Let's put some pressure on somebody.
Hey, Billy Bishop's in here. I know Billy Bishop could wrap it up. We've talked before. Wrap it up, my friend. I don't know if he's able to unmute himself.
We'll give him a moment. We'll sit here and bullshit until we see he can either say in the text no or he can speak up.
Oh man, you guys have no
Oh.
idea what Billy Bishop's working on, man. The guy's a madman. He's right now he's working
drop
on
it.
creating. He's
Yeah, keep it up. Yeah, keep it up.
Well, yeah, he's working on a VRM model, so we'll have a physical, like 3D, not a physical, but a 3D model for Motiverse. So next time when we're hanging out with Rizzo and the crew, we don't have to dance around his trash cans. We can dance around his costumes. And so we're gonna do that, and so he's gonna help us out with that. And yeah, so shout out to him, and you know that's just one of the crazy things the guy's up to, and we're looking forward to more
Oh
development.
man. Okay, Zombie just kind of stole the stage. Sorry there, Billy Bishop. You just sacrificed yourself.
Well, all right, guys, that's a wrap for tonight. I think we should
No,
wrap it
no,
up. Let you guys
bullshit.
go.
Hold, no. We can't.
I gotta go, man. I know you
No.
love us. You want to hang
What
out.
is this?
We're
What
wrapping
is
it
this?
up.
Low Raffle and Sus down, man. I gotta hear about it.
No, man, we got nothing else. That's a wrap for
I
tonight.
just want to say
We're
I bought
done.
an NFT called Fat Nuts. It's on Ethereum.
Yes.
I saw people talking about it on Twitter, so I was like, "Yeah, it's 0.02 ETH. I'm buying some fat nuts." So
Oh
just
man,
so
we
you
started. We started.
Hey, you
with
sold-
feet. We
You
started. with
sold your
feet a
you
couple
sold your
days
booty
ago.
pic though, right?
know.
Or
Which
was it
dude-
Pride DAO? Pride DAO. That's sold, right?
No,
You
no,
took that
Pride-
offer.
The Pride Punk, I sold one of them. Yeah,
Good job. That's
so
the
I
right call.
reinvested in some fat nuts.
Have some pride in those fat nuts, man.
All right, we started with feet a few days ago. Now we're talking about fat nuts.
So I'm
I
having
think
too
this is
much
a good
fun.
time to wrap it up.
I can't help it. Sorry, I'm gonna just take over.
Well,
You can
I'm
leave if
gonna-
you want to. I'm gonna.
exit stage left. But
That's all right,
you
man.
have a good night.
We'll see you in the morning,
We'll
Hefe.
talk tomorrow.
Hefe is West Coast. He's literally the earliest. It's fucking 9:10 p.m. over there. He ain't got no excuse. Regardless,
I'm leaving.
And he's the
get the fuck
youngest.
out of here. Exactly. He's got no excuse.
Hey, remember,
Z5.
he's streaming
Go
in
ahead.
his bedroom right now, so you
That's
know, he
fair.
might have other shit happening.
He might
in the
have.
background.
That's right. There's always stuff going on in the background.
That's okay. That's
All right.
okay. I won't dive into
night,
that.
brother.
I'm gonna give some credit to Z5. That's a hell of a haiku, right? The meeting is done. Everyone, get the fuck out. This is a haiku.
Oh yeah.
Wake up early in the morning. I'm gonna set an alarm. We'll be here at the Hangouts tomorrow. We'll just bullshit and have happiness, and we're gonna kind of subliminally set the tone for the fight that's gonna happen Sunday. It ain't gonna be a fight. We're just gonna crush it. It's gonna be a fucking massacre. Is what it's gonna be. But we'll go in there. We'll talk about Eat Denver. We're gonna make the DAO recognize what the hell's going on. Wagme's gonna be behind us. We're gonna count that chicken before it hatches. And y'all get the fuck out of here and let's have a good night. This is a haiku.
Sounds good. We'll talk about Lone Raffle and Sus Down next time.
Oh, I'm gonna wait for right now too. We're gonna watch who peels out. We always have the after party. Those that are ready to call it, get the hell out of here.
Should I cut the stream? Should this be like Quiet Alpha?
I think so. You know what? Let's leave a teaser for the stream. So stream, recognize that this is what happens when you only watch secondhand. God help
true.
you.
We
You
got
better
3
be here
people
firsthand
watching.
next time.
Yeah. All right, friends. Well, signing off. This is GMI with one of our extra long calls. It's 11:11 here.